little bit about my background. I went to Venice High School, and then I went to the University of Florida. Go Gators.
Oh, wow.
Hey, sorry about your luck. I'm just saying we're ranked higher, you know, just saying. So, I studied civil engineering up there, and then came to work for our city here in Venice. So we're going to talk about beaches today, but if you have any other engineering-related questions, we do all sorts of stuff from roads, bridges, stormwater lines, sewer, water, all that kind of stuff. So if you have any other questions for me later, let me know, and I'll give you my email address. You can always reach out on any engineering questions. So we've got a great view here, guys. You can see like almost all of Venice Beach. See that? See the pier down there?
Yeah.
That pier is probably 3 miles away, and another half a mile from that is the edge of what we consider our beaches. So we've got 3.5 miles of beaches that we're in charge of here in the city. And it's not just like the beaches do their own thing, right? You already learned a lot happens at the beaches. They're constantly moving around, and they're a lot of work. And they're very important to the city and the residents for a lot of reasons. The first reason I'm going to give you that the beaches are important is because they bring in a lot of money, right? A lot of tourists. That's why people move down here. It's snowing up north now, right? So people that live in New England are saving up their money all year so they can come down here for a week and vacation where we get to live. But a lot of it has to do with these beaches. I mean, this is what brings the people here, is why people move here. Another important thing that the beaches do is environmentally. They are a huge asset to our ecosystem. The beaches have birds and animals and fish and plants that are unique only to the beaches. We have sea turtles that nest here. The Gulf Coast is one of the biggest sea turtle nesting areas in the world. Vital to that species. We have certain types of birds that only nest on these beaches. So really important. And then the last reason I'm going to tell you is for storm protection. So if the hurricane is coming, right? Cat 5 coming in, gonna just drill Venice. You probably don't want to be sitting in one of those condos, right? Not where you want to be when the hurricane's coming. But right in front of those condos are the beaches. So the beaches are really the front lines when those waves and storm surge are coming in. So really important that those beaches stay there and they're not eroded away to protect both the buildings and anybody not smart enough to leave. So one of the things that threatens beaches, which you heard about, is erosion, right? Well, where we're standing right now is the Venice jetties. And can anybody want to take a guess why they're here? Why these jetties are here?
To prevent erosion?
That's true. That's true.
They don't fill in the jetty.
But to prevent erosion where, specifically? Anybody want to guess? It's right behind you. Channel right here. See all these boats coming in and out, right? I'll pass around a picture here. This is what the channel, whoa, there's some pictures for you. You just grab those, thank you. The channel used to be like a big river. It used to be natural, so it was sand on both sides. It would have been super shallow. The sand's constantly moving around. You would have your boat would have run aground. You never know where the channel's going to be. If you get a big enough storm, sometimes the channel would just close completely. There'd be no channel. Sorry, you can't bring your boat in today. So the federal government decided they were going to build these jetties to help keep the channel open so that it wouldn't close and prevent boats from getting in and out. Anybody know what year these jetties were built? 94. Really a lot older than that. Good guess though. I'll tell you, they're pretty old. They're definitely older than me. And I know they're older than your mom and dad too. Oh, he's reading it off the sheet, isn't he?
37.
Go ahead. 1937. Wow, lucky guess. 1937. Yes. Yep. That's a great question. Yep, this is part of the intercoastal. These channel markers mark the intercoastal waterway. This is an entrance and exit from the intercoastal. So this channel was built in 1937 by the federal government. So people in Washington, D.C. cut a check to build these jetties. So they were pretty important because in 1937, there was not many people in Florida. Florida was kind of like wilderness, pretty much. You know, there wasn't a whole lot going on. Anybody want to guess? Right now in Venice, we've got 24,000 residents that live here. You want to take a guess what it would have been in 1937? How many people?
1,000.
Ooh, close. Even less.
2.5. 800.
Close, less still.
400.
507 residents, which is pretty tiny. That's probably like the amount of people that live in your neighborhood or something, lived in the whole city. But they thought this was that important that they were going to build these jetties here. And the reason was, back then, boat traffic and shipping was really important, right? I mean, these channels were super important. There was no interstate, no I-75 back then, so it took a long time to move stuff on land. So there was a lot of agriculture and shipping and army-related things. We had an army base here in Venice. A lot of that happened through this channel. So the jetties were built to keep it from closing, to keep it open. Who can tell me what the tide is doing right now? Moving. Think it's coming in or going out? Coming in, right? It's incoming tide. This channel moves massive, massive amounts of water. So this channel is important for the bay too, because this water keeps the bay recirculated, keeps all the fish and all the animals happy in there. So keeping this channel open was really important. But now, with the benefits of the channel and the jetties came some negative things too. What do you think were some of the negative things to building the jetty? Anybody have an idea? It wasn't natural. That's true. Yeah, it doesn't function quite as like a natural water body would.
Panties can get hit with the jetty.
True. A lot of boat traffic. I'm looking for one big one. What you're studying today. Super expensive? Yeah, it was. It was pretty expensive. I heard it over there. Erosion, right? So the jetties, created less erosion in the channel, right? So the channel is not eroding. The channel is staying put. Great. But it actually made more erosion on our beach to the south. If you look at the beach to the north of us, that's Nokomis Beach. And you see like how much further out that beach comes? See how that beach comes like pretty far out, and our beach is like way back there, right? So it's safe to say that this beach is eroding and that beach is not eroding. And I'll tell you why that is, and you may have already learned about it with your other speakers. But there's a longshore current, right? That water is moving constantly, and usually it's moving from the north to the south. So it's carrying sand with it. So it's dropping the sand. It's picking up sand, it's dropping sand. It's got sand in it. But when it hits these jetties, what do you think happens? Stops. That sand it was carrying drops out because the current slows down. So the sand drops out right over there. Those guys on Nokomis, they've not had to do any renourishment. Their beach is actually growing. But on this side, the current picks back up again, but doesn't have any sand in it anymore. So now it just takes our sand away. So what's happened is, in the early 90s, it got so bad that these condominiums were just about to fall in the ocean. You had roads during storms that got completely washed out. We had sewer lines washed out. We had swimming pools filled with sand. it was a really bad situation. We had tourists would come to the beach and there was no beach. You walk down the steps and you're in the water. It was a serious issue. So in the early 90s is when we did our first beach renourishment project. Did you learn about that already?
Yes.
Beach renourishment? Who can tell me what it is?